Well, there's something you've been meaning to do. You've known about it for weeks, maybe months. It could be cleaning out the garage, finishing the proposal for work, planning the birthday party that of a person you really care about. Maybe starting the health plan that you keep telling yourself you're going to start, but somehow it does not get done. I mean, instead, you've answered emails, folded laundry, doom scrolled on your phone, maybe reorganized a drawer, and you keep telling yourself like I'm going to get to it. I'll do it tomorrow. I promise I will do it tomorrow. But tomorrow comes and it's still not getting done. So if any of that feels familiar, you are not alone. A September 2024 report found that 71% of Americans admit that they are procrastinators. And here's even what is more telling and maybe more alarming. A report in the Psychological Bulletin found that 94% of people say that procrastination is negatively impacting their happiness and their confidence. So, this really isn't just about getting things done. This is about how we feel about ourselves, our identity, our confidence, our self trust. I mean, procrastination, honestly, it doesn't even only show up in tasks, it shows up when we avoid hard conversations, when we delay taking care of our health, especially as women. I find that many of us procrastinate to, or just completely hesitate to invest in ourselves or step into something new. I mean, can you relate? Procrastination can make us feel powerless, hopeless, stuck in cycles that are not serving us at all. But today, we're going to talk about the real reasons we procrastinate. And we're going to go beneath the surface and learn how to use the Enneagram to start breaking old patterns of procrastination for good. Hey, friends, and welcome to the Living Well Enneagram Podcast. I'm your host, Jen Stanley. And around here, we talk about the Enneagram, real life, and what it means to grow and live well. Stick around to be inspired by real people, real stories, and real life application of Enneagram wisdom. Welcome to episode 1 of Enneagram Life Hacks. Today, we are taking the power away from procrastination and putting it back where it belongs, with you. So, what is a life hack? Well, okay, put simply and plainly, a life hack helps you solve a problem and get things done more effectively. So, today we're going to use the Enneagram to life hack procrastination. So there are 3 primary reasons we procrastinate. 1, it's uncomfortable. 2, it's unclear. Or 3, it's unimportant. So let's walk through these a little more specifically. First, the task is uncomfortable. We avoid discomfort. I mean, there is nothing about the way that we are wired as humans that wants to feel uncomfortable. I mean, at a deep level, our brain equates discomfort with danger. It's how we survived in the early days of humanity. So when something feels emotionally uncomfortable, emotionally risky, like perhaps starting a new workout routine, your brain starts asking, what if I don't know what I'm doing? What if I look foolish? What if it hurts? What if I fail? And your subconscious starts saying, avoid, avoid, avoid. This is dangerous. I've also seen this show up, this emotional discomfort. Maybe when you finally have a quiet house, but instead of working on your dream or your goals, you start scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, or watching a Netflix episode and then another and another and another. And again, these emotionally uncomfortable things, they can be avoiding a really difficult conversation with your partner or your adult child. Maybe you don't open the email that you know is something to do with your financial situation or your health results or a business decision. You just tell yourself, I just haven't had time. I'll deal with it later. But what's really happening underneath the surface is that when it's uncomfortable, it feels dangerous, and your subconscious does not want danger. So it wants you to avoid any task that feels uncomfortable. Now, the second reason we procrastinate is because it's unclear. Ambiguity creates avoidance. I mean, if something feels unclear, confusing, overwhelming, your brain just stalls. Where do I even start? What does done look like? What if I do it wrong? There are too many steps, too many decisions, too much uncertainty. And again, your brain just does not like that feeling. So instead of moving forward, you avoid. You are trying to figure out possibly like what's next in a project that you're working on or maybe in your life. Like what is the next chapter of my life going to look like? But you never really actually sit down to define it. I mean, you sign up for courses and you read books and you listen to podcasts, but taking action, that's where you want to just procrastinate and put it off because it feels too overwhelming. So you tell yourself, I don't know where to start, so I guess I'll just start tomorrow. I need to think about this more. I need to research this more, and then maybe I'll be ready. The third reason we procrastinate is because the something feels maybe unimportant or uninspiring. I mean, we are wired for immediate reward over future benefit every single time. So if something feels boring or meaningless, or if the payoff feels far away, your motivation starts to dissipate. Now, this might show up as you're pouring your energy into everyone else's needs, but you are delaying your own goals. You keep saying, well, once things settle down, then I'll get to myself. You're questioning whether investing in yourself in any way is even worth it. You tell yourself it feels indulgent. Other things are more important right now. When we don't connect meaning to something that we want to do, when we don't connect immediate reward to it, again, our subconscious is going to always pick what's comfortable now versus what's going to pay off later. So if it doesn't feel important, it might not get done. Most people think procrastination is a time problem, but it's not. It's an emotional safety problem. It's a clarity problem. It's an action problem. And this is where the Enneagram comes in. Because, well, in Enneagram language, procrastination is actually a thinking, feeling, doing problem, a centers of intelligence problem. I mean, consider this. If it feels uncomfortable, if it feels scary emotionally, that's a feeling center issue. If it's unclear and overwhelming, that's a thinking center issue. And if it feels unimportant or meaningless, that's a doing center issue. So here's your first life hack, and we're not even into the type specific ones yet. The next time you catch yourself procrastinating, pause and ask, does this feel uncomfortable, unclear, or unimportant? And then go one layer deeper about why it feels that way. Because awareness is incredibly powerful. This is something I teach to my students all the time. When we bring awareness to our subconscious, it transforms us. In fact, there's a quote I love, and it says, awareness is like the sun. When it shines on things, they are transformed. So ask yourself, is it uncomfortable, unclear, or unimportant? And bring your awareness to it. Once you understand what it is that's holding you back in this procrastination cycle, you can then reverse the question and say, how can I make this feel calm, clear, and important? Because when it feels safe in your body and your emotional center, when it feels clear in your mind and meaningful to your life, you will move forward. Hey there, listeners. Let's stay in touch. I have an email list and I would love to have you on it. As part of my weekly email, you're going to get to vote on what episodes you want to see coming next. I also have special discounts and sales just for the people on my email list. And of course, you'll never miss an episode because I'll make sure and send you a reminder. Okay, now I want to give you a life hack for each number specifically, and they're all going to center around this, making it calm and clear and important. We are going to start with number 9 and work our way down. So nines, you're typically going to find yourself procrastinating with activities that want to numb you out, avoiding things, and just really in that cycle of staying very comfortable. Nines are actually pretty good at procrastinating, especially when it has to do with something that they have to decide for themselves. In order to make the task feel calm, I want you to remind yourself that I can begin gently. There's no pressure here. In order to help you make it clear, I want you to ask, what will happen if I keep avoiding or delaying this? It can be really good to look at the impact that's going to happen. You're probably not going to like it later if you keep avoiding what you need to do. So, getting clear in your mind about the consequence of waiting. And then to help make it important, so whatever it is you've decided you need to do, remind yourself that it matters because it's important to you, and that will help you upgrade the importance. So, here's a quick action. Just set a 10-minute timer and begin with no pressure. 10 minutes, no pressure. See what happens. Number 8. The procrastination of a number 8 typically is going to happen when an 8 feels like they're being controlled or they're being forced to do something, or they might be stepping into a vulnerable situation. That's when you were going to find 8s procrastinating. And so, in order to make it feel calm, remind yourself that I can choose this on my terms. To make it clear, ask yourself the question, what outcome do I genuinely want here? That will help you clarify what the task is and what needs done. What do I genuinely want as an outcome here? And to help raise the importance of level, you can remind yourself choosing to do this puts me in control, avoiding it does not. And so your action item is to reframe the task as a decision, not an obligation. All right, number 7, your procrastination is typically going to show up when it's anything that feels maybe limiting, like it's going to hold you in one place too long or boring or too heavy. And so, in order to feel more safe in this, you can remind yourself, I can stay with this even if it's uncomfortable because you can. Sometimes you just need to remind yourself, it's the I can do hard things. I can stick with this even if it feels uncomfortable. And then to make it clear, what needs to happen first right now? Because you are an epically great planner, you can see a lot of steps. Why don't you just start with the first one that needs to happen right now? And then to make it feel more important in the moment, remember that following through on whatever it is you're avoiding will create the freedom you want. Following through creates freedom. And so your action item is to pair the task with something enjoyable. Put on some great music, come up with a game, gamify it, or plan how you'll celebrate when you're finished. All right, number 6, your procrastination typically happens because you're busy assessing all the scenarios and outcomes. You're creating multiple options for things and just in a constant state of anticipation and wanting to do the right thing and do it well and do it responsibly. And so there's a lot of thinking that happens. And if you're an Enneagram 6, you know that this impacts the procrastination. Something you can do to make yourself feel more calm is to say, I am safe and trusted to take one step forward. Something that you can do to help make it more clear is what is the next practical step, not the whole plan, just the next practical step. To help it feel more important in the moment, you can remind yourself movement will illuminate the best path forward. It is so true that sometimes we just need to take the one step to help us know what the next steps will be. So your action here is to go ahead and name what you're fearing or what the worst case scenario might be. Go ahead and name that. Just declare what it is so that you're not hiding from it. And then set a deadline that you will honor where you must decide and take an action. All right, 5. So your procrastination typically happens when you're overthinking, researching, and preparing, and then researching some more, and maybe overthinking a little bit more and preparing for what needs to be done. To help make it feel calm, remind yourself that I have enough energy and enough information to begin. To make it more clear, you can ask, what do I already know that I can act on now? And to make it important, remind yourself taking action will give me more clarity than thinking. Taking action will give me more clarity than thinking. This is just like what I mentioned for the Enneagram 6. Sometimes we have to take one step forward in order to know what the next ones will be. So, your action here is to take one action before you gather any more information. Make that promise to yourself. So, Enneagram 4, you're likely to procrastinate when you just don't feel motivated or feel like doing it, or when something doesn't feel meaningful. And in order to help yourself feel more calm, you can remind yourself, I don't have to feel any certain way to begin. You can help your brain feel more clear by asking yourself, what is one step I could take without having to feel anything? Just one step that I don't have to feel anything at all in order to do. And then to help it feel more important, you can remind yourself, This matters because it's mine to do, even if it's ordinary. The life hack here for the 4 is to create a great vibe and start for 10 minutes. So maybe light a candle, put on some music, and just get going for 10 minutes. All right, Enneagram 3, you're going to tend to procrastinate when something feels inefficient or you're afraid that you might fail, or maybe there's something more vital to do in that moment. And so, in order to feel more calm, you can start by reminding yourself that my worth is not on the line here. My worth is not on the line here. To be more clear in your mind, what is one small step that moves this forward? And to make it feel more important, this matters because it aligns with who I am, not just how I perform. So if, for example, you've got a task that maybe you've been avoiding, like I keep using the example of cleaning out the garage, it does matter because you're a person who wants to have a clean garage, and it has nothing to do with your worth or how you perform or how well you do it. So your life hack here is to do one small visible step imperfectly and privately. Enneagram 2s tend to procrastinate on things in their own life because they're so busy caring for everyone around them. And so, in order to feel more safe and calm, I want you to remind yourself I'm allowed to matter as much as everybody else. To make it more clear in your mind, ask yourself, what would I do if this was for someone else? And to make it important, remind yourself caring for myself, doing what I need to do helps me be at my best for others. So, here's the life hack for you, number 2. Do the task like you're doing it for somebody else. And now for our Enneagram 1. So you're going to procrastinate because maybe it's you don't know how to do the task perfectly, or you're not sure of the right way to do something, or it just feels impossible to do to the extremely high standard that you have. And so to keep yourself feeling calm, you can remind yourself that it is safe to do this imperfectly. To be clear in your mind, ask yourself, what is the simplest version of done? And to make it important, you remind yourself progress matters more than perfection today. Now, your life hack is to allow yourself to work on whatever it is you're putting off for 15 minutes and to do it messy. Just tell yourself, this is my messy 15 minutes and get started that way. So that's a wrap on the Enneagram life hack for procrastination. Now, I know I gave you a lot of tools there, and so I've got it for you in a PDF, and you're welcome to go to the show notes and download it there. Stay tuned because all month long, we're talking about Enneagram life hacks.